I could go without seeing another AI image or video
Absolutely.
for my whole life, I
Absolutely.
think.
Yeah.
But the problem is I'll see these like really fancy houses that are AI generated, and I'll be scrolling and I'll be like, it'll look like this really cool cabin. And I love cabins. Like if I could just go be a hermit somewhere in a cabin, I probably would. Um, but I'll stop and be like, ooh, that's a really cool cabin. And then I'm like looking at it and like, oh wait, it's AI generated. So I look a little longer and I'm like, yeah, that window pane doesn't look right, or that
All right.
plant is weird. And so then all of a sudden, Facebook thinks, oh,
He
Jeremy's
like
really interested in AI
that.
generated cabins. So here are 10 more AI
Yeah.
generated and so I start doing that with each one. I'm like, oh, is that AI generated or is that real?
Right.
And it's a you get into this, you get sucked into these things that are keeping you on the platform longer, but you're
Hmm.
not really interested in it. And so
Hmm.
that's where I think TikTok kind of came out of the gate with an algorithm that both kept you interested, kept you on the platform, and was serving you things that you genuinely thought were funny or
Right.
interesting or whatever. Um, and now all the other platforms are trying to, but they haven't really figured it out yet.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's kind of
So
like when,
go
no,
go
go ahead.
back. Yeah,
No, I was just gonna say
go back
TikTok
to your
has
question. That's
the
one of the yeah.
sorry. I was just saying TikTok
Go
has that
go.
not interested button. Are you interested in not interested button, right? So I really think that helped the algorithm a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's one way we're trying to get our clients to really think through their social media and what can we create on social media that actually gets people's interest rather than
Mm.
just gets reactions.
Right.
And some other things are, like I said, the branding and the creative strategy. Um, and so helping them just be just, I'd say being distinct is it's one of the hardest battles to say, to come up with ideas that are a little bit risky and get clients to buy into it. But when you're able to do that and then take an idea and then implement it in different pieces, whether it's streaming video ads or display ads, all those pieces, it makes the whole thing better, right? And so
Mm.
there's there's no there's no worst way to spend your marketing budget than on boring ads. Like
Man.
I hate when a client comes to us and they don't want to do risky things and they but they have a budget and they spend it on ads and it's doing something, right? It's not just completely wasteful, but
Mm.
it's so inefficient because people are never going to remember that
Right.
display ad that they saw when they were scrolling on an app that just has your logo on it, right? They're not
Right.
going to remember that. Um, so yeah, so I'd say in general, the tactics and the technology has changed a lot, but at the end of the day, good marketing is good marketing, and it's never gonna. I don't think it's gonna ever change that much in terms of what really connects with people.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen those a lot too. Like just the logo and some words, and it's like you said, kind of antiquated, right? Just old fashioned, and it barely worked then, and it's definitely not going to work now, right? If you're not catching somebody's attention in the first 3.5 seconds, uh, you're getting swiped off the screen faster than you got there. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. The only brands that get to do that are the big ones, right? If you're Coca-Cola, you can do
yeah,
that
you can
because
still stroll it,
you've earned it, right?
right?
Yeah, but if you're kind of a no-name startup, like you gotta work at it. You got to give me something that's worth remembering.
And then like you said,
That's why
like you said earlier, no, go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. I was gonna say the one story that I love that I think that exemplifies this on a national level is Liquid Death. Are y'all familiar with Liquid Death?
Yeah, the water. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is they took a very saturated market, no pun intended, right? Like you go to the gas station and you can find 10 or 20 different brands of bottled water. But I guarantee you go to pretty much any gas station in America and all of those bottles look the same, right? You're gonna
right.
it's gonna have it's gonna look blue, it's gonna be clear, it's probably gonna have a mountain or an animal
Or
or
water
a
drop.
waterfall on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, something. And but then here comes Liquid Death, and they're like, nah, we're gonna put it in a can and we're gonna put a skull on it, and we're gonna just make our whole brand revolve around killing your thirst, right? And and the water is not great, right? It tastes like water from a can.
But it's
It's
catchy.
not,
It's
yeah, it's
catchy.
I mean, yes, but people remember it. Like they remember it. It's the same thing that do y'all have Bucky's up there?
Mm-mm.
The
The
gas
No.
beaver,
station?
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've seen them before though.
Okay. So it kind of it's kind of taken over the Southeast for the
Okay.
most part. It feels like it has at least, but if you are anywhere that's probably within 150 miles of a Bucky's, you know of Bucky's. And they have a horrible social media account. Like their social media is garbage, right?
Right.
I went on there one day and they had no post. It was just they were hiring people. That's all their posts were on their Facebook was come work at Bucky's, come work at Bucky's. Nothing funny, nothing, but they've mastered the art of billboards. And so
Hmm.
you can't go down I-40 without seeing funny billboards that are Bucky's. And so,
All right.
but it's
Uh,
about it's about being distinct. They found a way to be distinct.
I think you've touched on it a few different times throughout the interview. Kind of like I was going to ask you what is marketing, but you've said it several different times in a few different ways, right? Being repetitive, right, and being distinct and standing out and making somebody feel something. Kind of like So I was going to mention I see an ad for vitamins on my Instagram, but it's like I'm into vitamins, but it's kind of like they're making you like, no, you really need these vitamins. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, I want some vitamins, but no, you really need these vitamins. And I'm like, ah. So, and I've seen them so much, and then the messaging is kind of like, these are the best vitamins, right? Because you look at vitamins, we got the best vitamins, right? It's like I do need some vitamins, and so I went to the website, and I haven't bought anything, but I'm still just getting bombarded with a
Yeah.
decent message, right? Something kind of catchy, and
Uh,
it's not your typical brand ads. Go to Walgreens and get your vitamins, right? It's something kind of catchy and stands out for
yeah.
sure. Um, so is that what
Here's
marketing is? Go ahead.
it's so that's part of it, right? So part of it is um, just beating. So if you have a business, you're going to have competitors, and you're
Mm-hmm.
all fighting for that little piece of real estate in someone's brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can either have great creative uh, advertising, and you can earn that spot pretty quickly, or you can have kind of mediocre advertising, and you can just like beat it into someone's head, right?
Right.
Um, and if you have the kind of the secret sauce is if you have great creative and you have a good budget, you can you've won, right? You
Right.
don't even necessarily have to have a good product.
Mm-hmm.
You've won. Um,
Right.
Now, if you have a bad product, long term, you're not gonna win in the long term, but you've definitely won that battle in the short term. That's why you see a lot of great businesses, especially on the local level. You see
Mm-hmm.
people who put their heart and soul into starting a business, but then they just kind of suck at their marketing, and they don't make it. And it's not because their
Mm-hmm.
business was bad or they had a bad product or a bad service. It was just that they just couldn't get this marketing thing right. And that's what like that kills me every time I see that because like as an entrepreneur and I know as an entrepreneur, man, like you are putting your livelihood on the line to get this thing started, and
Absolutely.
especially if you have employees, like you're busting your ass to make sure that they get fed, right? That they've got a paycheck every 2 weeks. And so anytime you see someone like just not make it because they didn't have a good tagline, it sucks and I hate it, but that's the reality of the world that we live in. And so that's really, if you had to ask me what my passion